Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, debt slaves, sirs, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks, my Kurdish friends, and my Turkish friends. I'm Useful Idiot, welcome. And let's go to Turkey today, talk about the latest crackdowns on the Kurds, particularly in the city of Diyarbakir. And boy, I know I'm massacring the name. But anyway, there should be no surprise here that after the so-called coup, that this manufactured coup, that one of the other agendas that Erdogan would follow in Turkey is a consolidation of his efforts against the Kurds. So he already weeded out a lot of Kurdish sympathizers in this fight against so-called terrorism in Turkey, this sweep after the purge that has affected over 100,000 people. And so multiple agendas are being addressed here. Another one of the reasons why we know that the coup was manipulated. In this case, it's the war against the Kurds. There was a ceasefire agreed to a couple of years ago, and it's been gradually breaking down particularly over the last several months. And I attached below the videos I've done about this new war on the Kurds inside Turkey by the Erdogan government, and to the point where a lot of cities, Kurdish cities in the southeastern part of Turkey are literally under occupation and siege, and security operations are going on there, and there's certainly a lot of casualties. And as a lot of my viewers out there pointed out on numerous occasions, certainly the Kurds are up to a lot of activities here as well, and there's been a lot of assassinations and bombings and retaliations. So we see the same kind of a tit-for-tat dynamics that we see in a lot of the region. And so there are no hands here that don't have blood on them. But now we have in this main Kurdish city of Diyarbakir, the mayor was jailed, city hall was closed, the protests are being brutally suppressed, and the internet's been cut off. And in fact, all over Turkey on November 4th, nationwide access to Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube was cut off. So all these social networks that have helped fuel all this instability and helped spread these movements around that region, Erdogan, of course, is swiftly cutting off. And Kurdish newspapers and TV have also been closed down. But this is once again, this is an ongoing process. It's just now with all the any moderates or any opposition can easily be targeted now. And as one person pointed out, anyone who opposes the government now is a terrorist. And that's another trend I've talked about in a lot of videos, that all over the world now, any opposition or any kind of insurgency, once you label them terrorists and you label anyone terrorist, then all bets are off, and all kinds of extrajudicial proceedings will be brought against people, and just label them against terrorists. And also just legitimizes whatever efforts you're making, in this case against Kurds who want a more autonomy and a little more respect for their culture within Turkey. Certainly have some legitimate claims, and yet they can be labeled as terrorists because of the tactics they use, asymmetric warfare. But the biggest Kurdish politicians of the People's Democratic Party were arrested, and a dozen MPs, members of parliament, were also detained, and they're being charged with terrorism. And back in May, they stripped a lot of the members of parliament who were members of that party of their immunity, 59 of them. So now they're trying to find ways to bring legal proceedings against all these Kurdish leaders. And then, and so we have this new Kurdish-Turkish war, essentially starting back in July of 2015, after the ceasefires breaking down, and now we see, like I say, this post-purge Erdogan using this post-purge atmosphere to consolidate even more power and bring more, tighten the noose around Kurds within Turkey. And it's all the more interesting dynamic because of the way things are going right now. We have a Turkish invasion of Syria, ostensibly to go after ISIS, that's being used to cut off the consolidation of the Kurdish enclave in Syria, which is very important to the Turks. And then, oddly enough, we have the Turks supporting the Kurds, Peshmerga, and the Kurds in Iraq in the struggle against ISIS. But at the same time, Turkey is using airstrikes and fighting battles against the Kurds in the PKK from Turkey that are operating in northern Iraq. So oddly enough, both supporting and attacking Kurds in either the north or south of Iraq. So anyway, I'm sure we're going to see more of this. And there's been a lot of protests in Europe. There's going to be a lot of agitation in the Kurdish community around that region as Erdogan once again uses this post-purge to consolidate and bring more war against the Kurds inside Turkey. No surprise, just another day in that region. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?